where we were doing video and photo and the slideshow, which involved music and a speaker and a projector and a screen. So it was a Friday afternoon. Like, hey, what time did you say you wanted to set up? It starts in 30 minutes.
Oh my
and
God.
It's downtown, and I'm way out east. I'm 45 minutes from there, and I have to grab the screen, projector. Like, it was a mess.
What's up, Shoot the Veil? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're talking about the S word. When I mean S, I mean stress.
Yeah.
And how to deal with stress as a wedding photographer when you're, from the moment you book a client to the moment you're at the wedding, to when you send out these photos. So Donny and I are just going to, just kind of ask each other some questions and see how we deal with the things that keep you up at night. Like, oh no, do I have a wedding in the morning or something like that just, drives you a little crazy as a wedding photographer, because that's at the end of the day, I think what kind of burns us out.
Yeah.
Is that stress that can be there if you don't adequately deal with it.
Whether you're new or a veteran, like, there are always things that just sort of itch. Like, oh, I don't know if that's done. I don't know if I did that right. Well, let's start with scheduling.
Scheduling. That's the first thing you do.
Yeah. So have you ever gotten a text or a call saying, "Where are you?"
Gosh. Oh man, I'm already hurting you saying that. And I have.
It's painful.
I have.
Yeah.
I've gotten that text. I've gotten that text 2 times.
Really?
2 times.
That's
2
bad.
times more than I ever wanted to have that text.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, that was a wake up call. It was the first time I was just like, I can't believe this happened. Oh, something happened.
Was it an engagement?
It was an engagement session.
Yeah.
Never
Those always sneak up on you.
If it was a wedding, I would not be in this podcast. I would have retired right then and there and crawled in the hole and never come back out.
Yeah.
It was an engagement session. And all of my engagement sessions are complimentary when you book a wedding package.
Right.
So it's not like they're paying for anything, but they're paying for something too.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
It's
so
the experience.
It was still, I was getting gas. I'm at Kroger and I looked down at my phone. I'm like, oh, please God, let's wake up right now.
Where was it? Like, how far away was it?
It was 10 minutes away.
Okay.
Much better. And I
You had your
friend-
gear?
I did not have my gear.
You had to get your gear.
So what happened was that, hey, Sam, we're here. Just wanted to let you know, are we in the right spot? That jazz. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to BS them right now. And I called them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so here's what happened. I messed up. And believe it or not, this was my excuse. My phone was dead for 4 hours. I was at my sister-in-law graduation party.
Yeah.
Still doesn't. It's a bad excuse. But I'm there, and I get the text, and I'm like, oh gosh. And I call him just like, hey, you know what? I messed up. Don't worry. We are still gonna have sunlight. Thank God.
Yeah.
I will be to you in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I gave myself 5 minutes to get home, grab my camera bag, change, and get there.
Yeah.
I did somehow. But it was sickening.
Yeah.
And that feeling will keep you up.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
Mine was a rehearsal dinner. My worst one was a rehearsal dinner where we were doing video and photo and the slideshow, which involved music and a speaker and a projector and a screen. So it was a Friday afternoon. Like, hey, what time did you say you wanted to set up? It starts in 30 minutes.
Oh my
and
God.
It's downtown, and I'm way out east. I'm 45 minutes from there, and I have to grab the screen, projector. Like, it was a mess.
And get your team together.
Yeah. So I called. This is actually a benefit from, we talked a few weeks ago about having employees.
Yeah.
So somebody worked for me. So
Right.
I was like, hey, dude, I totally forgot this.
Yeah.
Go grab the video camera and just go. I'll figure everything else out. And so he did. And he was there within half an hour, and then I started loading in. But, at the end of the day, people understand. I love what you did, though. If you just tell them, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Or I totally screwed up. I am so sorry. I'm human.
Right. You don't have to say my grandma died or my dog ate the homework or something crazy.
I've used to try that. Like I used to I hate to admit it, but I used to try to come up with an excuse that was kind of true. Like, hey, the power went out. Like it did a week ago, but it wasn't why it wasn't here. But I would try that, but it always felt itchy and weird. And like, I think they knew, morale. And it messes with you. Yeah. But there's something kind of endearing when you just own up to it. So maybe that's a lesson when you mess up on scheduling.
When you mess up
just
with
own
life,
it anytime.
You know what? It takes a true person to be like, I messed up and I'm going to get better.
Yeah. I'm going to make it right. Even if you totally like screwed up, you're right. Like you can't fix it that day.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to make this right in some way. And there's ways to do that. And anytime people do that with me in business, like I actually like them more. Like
you feel like you're dealing with a human.
Yeah. If they're good about it.
Right.
Yeah. So scheduling is a stress.
Right.
Quick fix. How do you solve it? Like what's your go-to way to fix that?
Okay. So this is new for me. This is what I've started doing. And I talked about this, I think it was the podcast when we had Danielle on. And that is having reminders, like just reminders. So I use Honeybook for my CRM. And a lot of photographers do. Some use Pixie, use whatever. So I use Honeybook. And you can schedule with Honeybook. You can put it in the calendar. That's what I do. But I connect it to my Gcal, so Google Calendar. So I make sure that my Honeybook is linked to my Google Calendar, and that's on my phone. It's on my work phone. It's on my personal phone. It's on my computer. It's on everything. And so I make sure I get, if it's an engagement session, I'm going to get a reminder 1 week before. And so that's just one reminder. I'm like, okay, you know what? Time to text the couple and be like, hey, yada, yada. I'm super excited for next week. Little reminder. 3 days before, 1 day before, and 9 hours before.
Yeah, good.
I just need to be slammed with them.
Yeah.
That's.
Are all of those automatic?
Automatic.
When you set there is an engagement, so it automatically does it, or do you have to go in and set each reminder?
No. A Google Calendar will automatically do it. Cool. So when you link it, you'll say, what notifications do you want to do with this calendar when an event happens?
Yeah.
I want a reminder here, here, and here. Not many other calendars will do that.
That's cool.
iCal, your iPhone calendar is fine. It doesn't work as well as Google Calendar does.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd recommend it. It also works if you have an Android. I don't know many photographers with an Android, but maybe that's you. Use it to the best you can.
Google works with all the apps that you might use, which is cool.
Right.
iCal doesn't sync with all the apps. Yeah.
Right.
It's a big deal. Okay. So one other habit that I think helps too, and I think you do this, is immediately, like while you're on the phone, you set the schedule for that day.
Right.
So
you have to.
Okay. So you do it on your phone, like while you're talking.
Well, if I'm having a phone call, preferably if I'm having a phone call with a client, I want to be at my desk at the house, like having that phone call. So when they say, we're thinking about October 6th at the Botanic Gardens. Awesome. Let me check my calendar right then and there. Yep, we got it. So there's not as much back and forth.
Yeah.
We have the time, and then I'll even schedule it on the phone call to have that email come through. Make sure you set the time, and you can set the agenda, and then boom.
Yeah.
You're done. You're not going to be like, great, all right, well, I'll get it scheduled. You're not going to get it scheduled. Quick note, you're not going to get it scheduled.
Right.
Something's going to come up. You have to work like someone's trying to work against you.
Yeah. No, that's so good. So your sort of habit is you don't leave that phone call without it being scheduled.
Yes.
And if the only time they ever had an exception, I would make them email me. Because if they call me and I'm busy and I'm like, I can't, like for some reason we're talking, but I can't put it in the calendar at that moment.
Yeah.
I will say, okay, you have to email me right now.
Yes.
Okay, will you do that? Email me the date and the time just so I remember. I'm traveling, I'm with my kids, whatever. Like, I don't know what it was, but
yeah.
Either I'm writing into the calendar or they're emailing me of that date.
Good. Don't get your dates mixed up.
Man, huge.
Okay,
what else? Stressors. They keep you up at night.
The stressor points. Oh, there's a few we can hit. The big ones are scheduling, timeline, and dealing with just the wedding day stress. Do you want to go right into like kind of timeline? Like
timeline's good. Let's talk about that. Like, how do you keep the wedding day? You talking about the wedding day timeline or the whole global project?
Okay.
Because those are two different things.
Two different things, definitely. Let's talk about engagement photos timelines. We talked about a little about that.
Okay.
When do we do that? How soon do we do that? The timeline of the wedding booking process.
Yeah.
So let's just say someone...
Hey guys, want to take a break really quick just to invite you to shoottheveil.com. If you're not already a member of our community, we would love to have you come check it out. Listeners of the podcast, we're throwing in like a free month for you. Use the promo code podcast when you go to shoottheveil.com and sign up, get your login, jump in. We're a community of photographers just like you. And if you want to create a really cool business doing something you love, we want to help you. That's what we're here for. Sam and I created this for you, but it's really about the community creating something for each other. So if that's for you, jump in. Can't wait to see you there.
Is coming and they inquire from a year from today.
Yeah.
So we have a year engagement, they book, whatever. How soon do we get those engagement photos? Because I've had times where I forgot the engagement photo session up until, and they didn't reach out. And I was like, well, okay, so we're just not going to do engagement photos?
We're doing an after wedding session?
We do an after wedding session. So one thing that helps me is that I'm as soon as they book that same week, I'm making sure we get the engagement session scheduled.
Okay. They'll usually ask you like, so when should we do our engagement?
They usually do.
Yeah. And you got to have a couple of answers.
Yeah.
Where does your mind go first when they ask that question?
When they say, hey, when can we schedule our photos? I think, okay, what do I have in the next 1 to 3 months? When some availability? I don't like to do engagement sessions on the weekend. So it's just, I'm having weddings most weekends and I don't want to occupy my Sunday nights. So I'm like, okay, I have Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. or whenever the sun's best. So you say, here are the weeks I have. I immediately go to this and I say, what kind of location / vibe are we feeling here? We want something like golden hour in a field. We want rooftop. We want urban.
Okay.
And so I'm immediately going off those questions, a little just, personal questionnaire between them through our text or email. Like, what are we feeling? What do we want? Send me your Pinterest board that I can match up with some locations.
So you're thinking your first one is, I want to do this in the first 3 months. That's a big like first thought for you. That's a choice. Tell us why you choose to get it done in the first 3 months.
Right. So usually the schedule of when someone gets married, you want to send out the save the dates. You have the save the dates and you have the invitations. You want to send the save the dates usually within 9 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So that means they send it to their loved ones. They put it on the fridge. It's a nice picture of them, so they're reminded. And then you send the invitations 4 to 5 months before the wedding.
Right.
I want to be the picture on their cousin's fridge.
Right.
Yeah. I want to be the picture on their buddy from college, whatever. So that's why I want to have it done. And I've had it, we're like, oh, we already sent out the save the dates.
Yeah.
I'm like, would you use an iPhone photo?
They usually do.
Yeah. And I'm like, don't do that.
Right.
So, if I'm your photographer, I want to represent you well.
It's good.
So
getting it within that 9 to 6 month window is your clue, or is your first key. And you're thinking when they book, you want to get. There's also something cool about when they're paying a bunch of money. You want to give them something relatively soon.
Right.
You don't want them to pay a huge deposit, another payment, but they've never received anything.
Right.
So
getting you're waiting in 9 months until something happens, and it's just kind of like, dang, there goes $4,000.
Yeah.
And I'm just now shaking hands. I'm like,
Okay. So quick turnaround on an engagement session. I think that's right on.
Right.
My first thought was always they would say, when should we?
Yeah.
And I love your answer if it's a good year out.
Right.
Another option for an answer is I liked to do it on an opposite season from the wedding so that they had like different looks. If they have like a spring wedding, they might have fall with scarves and sweaters and just so, their memories have a couple of different looks.
Definitely.
But having a good answer. So I think your first thought would be, are you doing save the dates?
Yeah.
If that's true, then, and you're the expert and then you're telling them, cool, well then we have to do it within that 9 to 6 month window because that's when you do those. They're already feeling cared for.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I want to be the contact that they can trust.
Yeah. I think that's good. So, and if you aren't in that 9 to 6 month window, then the next thought that you have is, I want to do this soon.
Right.
As your photographer, whether we're 6 months out or a year and a half out, I want to get this done soon so that you feel like you made a good investment and we've got a good vibe going immediately.
Yes.
That's cool. Okay. That's good. So we're thinking through timeline. So that the engagement session happens pretty soon.
Right. So they book, we schedule this engagement session. We do the engagement session. There's not too much more that happens between there. Maybe send a questionnaire about 3 months before the wedding.
Okay.
That's one thing that's probably good to do. Sometimes I maybe will get it. I just sent one out, and honestly, the wedding's in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
what do you put in a questionnaire?
Okay, good one. Questionnaire. So it's basically just some of the general stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What do we want what time is the ceremony? Do you want a first look? And maybe some of those things come up during the engagement session, but it's good to have it in writing because when you're dealing with 40, 50 clients, you're going to forget. Asking those general questions. Do you have a wedding party? How big? How many members? And then what family bunches of photos do we want? Any special scenarios with parents that I should know about? That's a big question.
Huge.
It's like my mom, has 5 different husbands. I want to get a picture with all that. I need to know that beforehand.
That's kind of a big deal.
That's kind of a
big deal. You don't
want
to walk through that
because then it's just like this murky water of like, all right, the next dad.
Yeah.
So.
So that's a big deal. So getting the questionnaire with some of the basics, some of the important things about 3 months out.
Yeah.
And that's also a great time to start talking about, let's get your timeline together. So let's talk about that meeting, probably about 2 months before the wedding.
2 months to a month, usually. It depends on how on it this bride is. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Like some of them just throw their hands up in the air and just like whatever.
Yeah.
And then some are like, I've got it planned out. We're ready to go. I can make this timeline 9 months before if I wanted to.
Right.
Typically, I like to have it a month before. That way everything's pretty much finalized and they got all that. And so do most wedding planners. And in my recent, endeavors, I just had a call on the way here from wedding planner, and it's in a month.
Yeah, it's about right.
About right, so you have everything worked out. So make a note that, hey, a month before this wedding, you can do that. You can do that in Google Calendar if you want.
There you go.
It's just set up an automation that, hey, remind yourself, let's make that timeline now. That'll also relieve some of that stress off of you.
And you book about half an hour at least for that conversation.
Yeah, half an hour.
Yeah. It's another point where they feel cared for. And there was never a meeting where I don't feel like, or like she doesn't feel like I cared for her day almost more than she did. Like I'm thinking through every detail of, but when is this going to happen? And if you do it that way, when would this happen? And they're walking through their day probably for the first time, start to finish.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, we're going to show up here. Where are y'all going to be? They're like, oh, wow. Yeah. Where are the groomsmen going to be getting ready?
Right.
Like, oh crap. We didn't think about that.
Is this conversation that you're having as a 3-way call with wedding planner and bride, or is this something that you talk with the bride, then talk with the wedding planner?
Well, we would always have them come here if possible to the studio. But then if the wedding planner, if it was out, then a 3-way call is fine. But the most important conversation is between me and the bride. Yeah. And so we're having that conversation and thinking through distances from, you're getting ready at your mom's house, which is awesome. We love that. But it's going to take this much time to get there to the ceremony place.
15-minute drive. So let's just go ahead and make it 30.
Oh, and let's add some time because you forgot the veil. You got to run back in. Like, there's it takes a long time to get out of your house to the car. Like all those things take way more time. So thinking through literally each step of the day, all the way to the final send off, whether they're doing a real send off or a fake one because it's going to be midnight and they're going to party till 2 a.m. at Rayford's like downtown.
Yeah, and you're tired.
So is it going to be a fake send off? All the pieces. This is the first time they've walked through the whole day.
Yeah,
and it's really fun. They feel like, wow,
and it's real.
And you're part of it coming together in her mind. Yeah, which is huge. If you let the wedding planner do all that, they're building that bond with the wedding planner, which is really important.
They need
that. But you have to be involved in it.
Right.
There was never a time where the wedding planner figured it all out without me.
Good.
And I think that's important. And a good wedding planner knows that
yeah.
They involve the photographer intentionally.
Right.
But for new wedding planners or maybe a day of planner, which they're not, coordinator, they're not as involved. As a photographer, you have to insist that you're a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And they get it.
Yeah.
Especially after they experience it, they get it. So we're talking about stresses. If you aren't involved, it's inevitable that you're, especially the pre-wedding stuff, like you're
going to
getting
be a
through
little stressed
It's
out.
going to be stressed because they didn't think of something.
Right.
Like, oh, you wanted to do it on the rooftop? It's 4:30 at the Peabody. They're doing the duck march. We're going to have to walk 12 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
But I would have thought of that if you'd have asked me.
Right.
But here we are. So how about we go to Beale Street?
Yeah, right. So stuff like that is immediately going to save you a lot of mental space.
Yeah.
Is having that all taken care of. And another thing, it also helps your second shooter. That, hey, you know what, boss has got it taken care of.
Right.
I'm fine. You have a better work. Whatever you call that.
You know, there's something important to, like, I think what you're alluding to is when you have a plan, there's no stress.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how chaotic the world is, whether it's anything in your life, if you've got a plan, you can handle it.
Yep.
And so walking in where you have it on your phone, I don't know if everybody knows this, but save your timeline as an image and just put it on your phone desktop.
Definitely.
So every time you pick it up, it's just right there. You don't have to swipe and find it.
Screensaver.
Screensaver. Your desktop. Your hand desktop.
Your hand desktop, yeah. Your hand computer.
So that's huge.
I've already taken off 75% of my stress.
Right. So having a good plan, driving the plan, and so taking authority, telling them like, hey, we got 20 minutes till this. We've got to move. You've got to put your veil on right now. Where's mom? We got to get this. So thinking one step ahead of what's going to make us hit this mark is really important. There are some photographers, and maybe you're one that's way more chill and just kind of floating through the day.
Style. Yeah.
It's a style, and it's kind of appealing if that's what the bride wants. But I think everyone in the world wants somebody that has some structure of a plan, and not just kind of have thinking going through the day, shooting whatever's in front of them. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but write us on the comments.
Yeah,
but
you might get cussed out. I'm just kidding. No, I 100% agree. I would want someone who can, tell me to hurry up or we're fine. Everything's on schedule. I need someone to take charge.
So have a plan, then drive the plan.
Right.
That helps on the wedding day.
Right.
Thinking back kind of before the wedding day, I would always get kind of stressed going into the wedding day. Like it's Saturday morning. Yeah. Thinking through my gear.
Okay. Gear, that's a big one.
Dude, gear is huge. In the early days, I kind of stressed over it all week, like thinking through every detail constantly. As you get more and more comfortable, you kind of think about it like the day of. As you get really comfortable, you think of it like on your way there. There are some photographers who literally open their case and like, oh crap, my camera's not in here. Like, they're so comfortable they forget details.
Right.
But how do you take care of the stress of gear? What are the things you stress about on gear? First of all?
Definitely. You've got to have a system, and that is night before, check your SD cards, go through. I keep my SD cards. Okay, what's been dropped, what's been sent. Take from the sent.
Yeah.
And so you take from the sent SD cards, and you go through and you format them if you haven't already done that. So you look at that, make sure you have a full card wallet. I just want to make sure I have a full card wallet ready to go. Step number 1. Yeah. Great. Okay.
How many cards do you, or like 125, 128 gig? Yeah. How many do you bring?
Well, I mean, if I'm shooting on X amount, it depends on photo or video. You're going to bring 2 per camera, obviously. If I'm shooting 120, I'm never going to shoot more than 128 gigs of photo. So, you want to double up on, if you better have a 2 camera card slot. You better have a 2 camera card slot.
A 2 card camera.
2 card, whatever it is. You know what
2
I'm saying.
slot.
Yeah, 2 slot camera.
Yeah.
Right. You better. Last thing you want is something happening.
Oh, that's huge. And back in the day, like they didn't have 2 slots.
Right.
So we would be,
that SD card is worth $5,000 to $10,000 right there. Oh my gosh.
Like we would dump them at the wedding.
Oh, that's nice.
Like as soon as we take it out, we would dump them. They had little devices that you could put in your bag that would dump it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, like little hard drives with an SD slot in them. But it was such a stress. Yeah. And cards would mess up. Like, yeah.
Happened to
Anyway.
me.
So dual slots.
So have your dual slots ready. And then the next thing I would do is
batteries.
Day before,
Flash
get
batteries.
the first flash batteries. Oh, that's a big one. You have to make sure your flash. Many times I forgot to charge my flashes. So if you have the space in your house, or if you have a studio, then this doesn't even apply to you. You should have it already. If you have an office in your house, which I recommend you try to make and do, if even that's just a wall in the living room, whatever. That space, number one, is really huge. Having a desk and having, okay, this is where my cameras go.
Yeah.
And I understand some, I was the kid going home to my parents' house and unloading everything in my bedroom, and that's good for a season of life, and definitely, make the most of what you have. If you have that space where you can have that desk and that office space, use it, and then use it very organized. Get your batteries the night before, get them charging, and then I just leave them overnight. I usually will take 8 batteries. That's a lot of batteries.
Yeah.
I never really go through all that much, but then I still bring 2 chargers just in case.
Yeah.
2 chargers.
Bring the charger. Throw a charger in the bag. That's so easy.
Yep. So as soon as my camera dies on the wedding day, it goes straight into the charger, and then I have 7 more.
Yeah. I would bring, speaking of batteries, for the flash.
Yeah.
For a long time, we would use all rechargeable batteries, but we got to the point, number one, I realized your flashes work way better with real batteries, not rechargeable batteries. They're faster and they
mean like double
more
A's?
power. Yeah.
What were you using?
Just rechargeable double A's.
Yeah.
Like in a loop or whatever.
Usually now they have like the Godox ones I use are much different.
Oh, they have like the
rechargeable
lithium ion
lithium
thing.
ions.
Yeah. But the triggers, I don't know if your triggers do this, but my triggers will, like the flash triggers.
Yeah. You were remote flashing.
Yeah, I was for remote flashing. They work way better with non-rechargeable batteries. I don't know what it is, but an actual battery, like it powers better and cycles faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The cycling thing is
even
huge.
some of my triggers won't even work with a rechargeable battery.
Wow.
So we would, but the other thing too is if you have a pack of like Duracell batteries in your camera bag, just keep like a 4-pack or something. If you, if
I've
you
never used any of those flashes, and I don't know of many people that do nowadays.
The Godox stuff,
no.
We have some.
Ion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Anyway,
keep your batteries charged, have them ready to go, and bring a charger. Number one, that just like that, you have your stress absorbed. Easy. It's gone. Easy. Your batteries are charged. And then one thing that I do is, I actually don't pack my camera gear the night before, and that is because it's going to stress me out on the way there. That what if I forgot something that night?
Yeah.
So last thing I do is I pack my camera gear. Very monotonously pack it. This is going here. This is going here.
And we talked about gear cases and stuff early on in one of these podcasts and how it makes you look professional, makes you feel professional. But another piece is organizing. If you have a space for every lens and every camera and every
all
flash.
All my cameras have their own cutouts. So that's another it's putting the puzzle piece in here.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. So if you forgot something.
I know if I forgot something. And it's also good on the way back home from the wedding.
Right.
So if I know if this Pelican has a, okay, where's the R5?
Yeah.
Where's the 2470?
Or where's my charger?
Where's my charger? Right. So everything has its own place.
Yeah.
And you'll save money. You'll save a lot of money on batteries, actually. That's what you lose the most of.
Yep. Absolutely right. Okay. So gear is important. The scheduling is important. The day of timeline is important. What else stresses you?
You know what? I think that just about covered for me.
Gear, scheduling, timeline.
Scheduling, the engagement session, the gear, the timeline. The wedding day, it's just kind of a muscle that you have to strengthen.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to get nervous, especially if you're new to weddings. You're going to get nervous, and that's okay. It's okay. That's very normal.
It's actually good. It makes you very
aware.
Focused and aware. Yeah.
Very aware. So I don't say that weddings stress me out anymore when I'm there. which is great. I mean, they definitely used to,
Mm-hmm.
especially now that, when you have a sustainable business and, you have gear that you can rely on.
Yeah.
I remember some of the first weddings I was doing was like a Canon Rebel.
Yeah.
Absolutely outrageous. And, I'm doing it and I was worried because, oh no, I can't handle low light. I can't handle this. Now invest in good gear.
Yeah.
It'll pay its worth.
Yeah.
100x,
Yeah. I would say to that, one of the biggest keys is redundancy. I think the thing that made me stress the most back in a long time ago was the card backups.
Okay, yeah.
And so I would invest in a ton of extra cards. I think you said this a minute ago, but you don't use the cards until it's been sent. So that means uploaded, like they've got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's huge. So you have probably a few sets.
You have sets, exactly right.
That's huge. I mean, it cost you a few $100, and now you've got this peace of mind. The other thing that made a big difference is I would always have 2 cameras.
Yeah.
I have my main camera that was like awesome, and then even from day one, like when I had no money.
I'll wear 2 cameras on the wedding, the dual harness, and then I keep another one in my bag.
Yeah.
Just to make sure if something goes out.
It happens.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I actually had it happen one time. I was like,
man,
my R6 is not working. Okay, gotta go.
So one time I was at the wedding where we're outside. I'm in the back, like the bride's about to come in, and my battery dies on my camera. And I didn't have a second camera with me. It's I'm like, I can't move. So I literally get my phone out, hold it next to my camera so I don't look like I'm doing with my phone.
So you're getting behind the scenes.
Like I'm holding it next to my camera, pretending to be shooting with my real camera with like the 70 to 200.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I texted the guy in the front, like, battery dead, get everything.
SOS.
But I got some great pictures of her walking in.
Good old wide angles.
Oh my gosh. It was so bad. But those kind of stresses, like stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
And having redundancy, having many cameras, many cards, like all kinds of backup stuff.
You have to work like you're in Murphy's Law.
It's going to happen.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I think if you know, obviously, don't go crazy with that, but you have to work like someone's working against you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that will automatically, okay, you know what? And that person working against you, believe it or not, is you.
Yeah.
It's you. It's your laziness. It's your lack of self-discipline.
Yeah.
So you've got to work and defeat that other half
Yeah.
while it's trying to pull the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just self-discipline.
Yeah.
It's allocating hours during the day. Like, okay, you know what? I'm going to work from 6 a.m. this morning to 3 p.m. Or I'm going to work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or I'm going to work from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. It doesn't matter. Whatever you need to get done, you have to have the self-discipline, and then you're going to be a lot less stressed.
Yeah.
And that's just facts. That's facts with anything else in life.
So this job is relatively fun and relaxing.
Oh, absolutely.
But what we're talking about is there's stuff that if you do it, you make all of the stress go away.
Yes.
It literally can be stress-free from start to finish, but you have to be disciplined.
Discipline.
It's good. Well, I hope that helped some people.
Oh, absolutely.
Number one, like maybe it helps like to relate, like, wow, professionals deal with this
Absolutely,
too.
Man.
And then if you're new, maybe it's some stuff that you haven't thought about that maybe helps you.
Absolutely. So if you could take anything away, just take away self-discipline and then work like something, work as if you're in Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
Be safe, and then have your scheduling and your client communication on reminder. And so you're ready to go, and then you have something you can trust.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Great. Well, hope that helps you guys.
It's a ton of fun as always. If you guys aren't already a member of Shoot the Veil, I'd highly recommend you go to our website, shoottheveil.com. Check out some of the stuff that we offer, and then make your account. It's $20 a month. And when you sign up, you get a limited access to a posing catalog. We have a community. We have obviously this podcast. We have live calls. We have so much that can really help you escalate your wedding business. And you can also talk with, wedding photographers from all over the nation. We love to talk with you.
Yeah.
Like just one-on-one, direct message us.
There's so many questions happening with like, hey, how do y'all do this? How do you do this? It's really helpful. It's awesome to see everyone helping each other.
It's niched for this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's like a little church of photographers. So right. It's a great place for people like us to connect. And if you aren't already, just go ahead, hop on the website, and we'll talk with you guys there.
Awesome.